Project, and we are an organization that is just a new 501c3 for a year and a half. We started as a mercy ministry out of church, Redeemer Presbyterian Church in Travelers Rest. So we are just getting our name out into the community to broaden and base what we feel is a much needed service in the community. So I just want to get started with that. I'll start with just something that Victor Hugo, actually, some things Victor Hugo, a poet, had said that really speaks to us. He who opens a school door closes a prison. And the true division of humanity is between those who live in the light and those who live in darkness. And our aim must be to diminish the number of the latter and increase the number of the former. And that's why we demand education and knowledge. And that really speaks from Victor Hugo in the 1800s, but it is really true today. Illiteracy is a serious problem, and according to the U.S. Department of Education and National Institution of Literacy, these statistics are published. 44 million adults are now unable to read a simple story to their children. 6 out of 10 households do not buy a single book. 3 out of 4 children on welfare cannot read. In our own state, in South Carolina in 2015, 67% of South Carolina's 4th graders scored below the proficiency in reading achievement. 85% of all juveniles who interface with the court systems are functionally illiterate. Between 46 and 51% of American adults have an income well below the poverty level. And this is because of their inability to read. Illiteracy costs American taxpayers an estimated $20 billion a year. School dropouts cost our nation $240 billion in social services and expenditures and lost tax revenues. And it has now come to light that some states are even basing their prison population projections on how well elementary students are performing in reading tests. So that's a big job, and the Augustine Literacy Project wanted to do something about that. So who are we? We are hand-picked volunteers who successfully complete 70 hours of training and a practicum. And what we do is we provide one-to-one tutoring to children who are educationally and functionally challenged. Again, I mentioned earlier how we got started. We actually were started in North Carolina in 1994 by Linda McDonoghue. And in 2006, Maxine Bennett started a replication in Greenville in her church as a mercy mission at Redeemer Presbyterian Church. Always the curriculum was secular, however. It was a small, volunteer-run organization, primarily from the church, and depended on the donations and stipends from that congregation. In December, though, of 2015, the replication incorporated as an independent nonprofit, receiving our 501c3 status just as recently as January 2016. So what did we do with that? Well, we decided we needed to grow. We needed to get more tutors because the need was so great. Here's how it works. We train and support caring volunteer tutors to provide free, long-term, one-to-one, multisensory instruction to low-income children struggling with literacy skills. And we do that by using the Orton-Gillingham and ALP methodology to teach these children. That is how we coach our tutors in that philosophy. Lessons are conducted twice a week for 45 minutes, generally during the child's school day hours. Every lesson, the child says it, sees it, writes it, touches it, hears it, and then reads it to enhance their attention span, providing consistency and boost confidence by introducing additional skills that help them decode the word, build it back up, put it together, and read it. And all the while, they are getting a one-on-one cheerleader on their accomplishments as they succeed. So what does our lesson plan look like? I have a little. I have some handouts for everybody. That gets everybody around. Every child that is in our program, we do a pre-test analysis. And that pre-test analysis comes from using these kind of cards. Do they know their letters? Do they know the sound that it makes? Do they hear it in a word? Are they able to decode words now? Are they able to recognize any sight words? Can they read? At what level do they read at all? So after we do that pre-test evaluation on your orange piece of paper, or white for some of you that are in on orange paper, that gives the tutor an opportunity to slot them in a sequence of where to begin. Remember, our volunteers are not exactly educators. I was not an educator. I just loved kids. I just loved to be in Girl Scouts, PTA, teach Sunday school, and a lot of our volunteers have that same passion. But we're not trained. But we get 70 hours of training that gives us all the confidence and all of the tools and all of the skills to actually carry out a productive lesson plan that brings these children along. So we start with our scope and sequence, and at that point, it builds into the second page, which is an example of one of the lesson plans that I had for one of my students last year. In 45 minutes, we complete that entire lesson plan, which gives them an opportunity to write, spell, sound out words, break them down, use the skills that we taught them with tapping out, smearing the word together, breaking it down. We get to the point where they will write sentences, decode words that don't make any sense at all, nonsense words, and then we give them an opportunity to read to us. And the reward for the session, if you can believe it, is to read to them. Many of these children are not read to. And while some children always want a reward, a piece of candy, something like that, the highlight of the lesson is really for these children to sit and be read to. And they want you, that's a part of the lesson they really don't want you to skip and run out of time. So on the very beginning, I just want to show you what a see it, say it, sound it, feel it looks like. At the very beginning of the lesson plan, we do a phenomenal awareness exercise with the children, kind of get them warmed up and make it fun. So you all are my volunteers. So this is just a hot potato type game, and it's a rhyming game. So I would hold the potato and I would say, we have symbols like a, for octopus. So I'm going to say, I'm going to start a word, hot potato, I'll throw it to you. Okay. You give me a rhyming back. A bit faster you do, because I'll have a timer with a little buzzer to see how fast you can make a rhyming sound. Okay, set.
Hat.
Bat.
Mat.
Cat.
Rat.
Fat. Okay, that happens as well. Okay, now say, what about if we change it to it?
It. Oh, wrong with that same word?
Yeah, words.
It.
Change what we just did with it. Okay.
Bit.
Pit. Kit. So anyway.
Fit.
All right, so you get the idea. You get the idea. And kids love that kind of stuff. A second one would be, if you reach in here and feel for something, I want you to tell me what it is and tap out the sounds that you feel. Oh, you can take it out.
Oh, I can take it
out. Oh, what is that? Okay, what sounds do you hear in fan? Fan. Very good, very good. Would you like to try one?
Sure. Basket.
Well, that was maybe a little bit bigger. How about? I don't know, I guess I didn't have, maybe a little. How about that one?
Okay, duck. Do I need to tap out sounds?
Tap out.
Duck.
Duck. Very good. And then then they're able to respond. How many sounds? How did it sound? Break it apart, put it back together. So that's kind of an opening of the lesson plan, just to give you some idea. Now, our caring volunteers, what do they receive when they decide to sign up for our program? We give them 70 hours of structured multisensory training, including classroom instruction, online study, and supervised practicum with the children. We run 2 training classes in the summer, and the training classes are 40 to 48 hours, and the pre-course material is what totals it out to 70 hours. So it's a huge commitment in study time and time off during your summer program. But we run 2 classes in the summer only, because our director, who is a teacher at Camperdown Camperdown Academy, that's her time off, and she donates 2 weeks out of her summer to do the training for us. We also train them in safe practices instructions for the safety of the tutor as well as for the child. All materials needed for lessons come from the Wilson Language Training System and ALT developed aids. And I have kind of a display that everything on that table is what a tutor will be equipped with when they leave the training session. We have ongoing tutor support and consultation at our monthly tutor talks, because we want to reinforce our community as well as have fellowship, ask questions, learn from each other, learn from the children especially. And we have refresher courses online and in the summer. We have a website, and of course on there we have up-to-date training materials, extras, and our newsletter. The tutor commitment is really a big one. So you really want to have to be a tutor. And the tutor commitment is to instruct a qualified student at least twice a week for a total of 60 lessons. So that's what we ask. And that, once you become a tutor, we ask that you complete the program by doing that. And 60 lessons can take you 2 years. If you tutor 3 times a week, it could take you a shorter period of time, but 2 years. But our slogan, Tutor One Child, Change 2 Lives, really is what drives people to stay on beyond a 2-year commitment. It's just so inspiring to actually be a volunteer and see that you are making a difference in one person's life that may change their life forever. So, we invest about $1,000 per tutor. We ask that the tutor pay $300 of the cost to subsidize some of the materials, which exceed $300 actually. But we do have a limited number of scholarships to cover materials for those volunteers who are unavailable. We were the recipient of Dabo Sweeney's All-In Foundation in our first year to provide 24 scholarships to tutor volunteers who couldn't afford the $300. We hate to charge that $300 to be a volunteer. You don't usually want to take money from volunteers, but it is essential also when people, make that contribution, that they are very committed if they're for that 2-year period of time. Again, our target population is 1st through 3rd grade, because studies will agree that that is the time where children learn to read. Beyond 3rd grade, they're reading to learn. So if we haven't captured that period of time and we haven't given them the tools that they need to work themselves through difficult words so that they can understand and comprehend what they're reading, we may have a hard time catching them up. We seem to have our greatest success, and the program has had its greatest success in the 1st through 3rd grade levels. That's not to say that we don't have children in our program that have gone beyond the 3rd grade level, but they started with us in the 1st or 3rd grade level, and we've continued on with them. The children come to us, they're identified by teachers, parents, and reading administrators. and all the students must qualify by being behind in reading, writing, and spelling at least a year or more, and they must qualify for the free or reduced lunch program. Again, I said all of our students are pre, and then we post test for our results. And with the fact that we have 10 years worth of documented results based on the church ministry, we are able to show clear improvement in reading, writing, and spelling of the students within the year that they're tutored. And I will just let you read ahead on some of the statistics and the improvement. But every year we are able to at least bring a child up to grade level, or we will continue on with them into the next year, or if they're held back, we will continue on with them. Which usually our contact is with the teacher, never with the parent, to determine if progress has been made. And the teacher is usually the first one to tell us. And we have teacher-tutor conferences to follow up on the student. These are the schools that we're in right now. We're in 18 schools, actually 14 schools, but the other students that are in different schools sometimes meet at the library or at other locations, just because they came to us with parents, and that works best for the parent to get to the tutor closest to them. Our statistics and strategic plan is in 2016 we trained 13 tutors, and in 2017 this summer we trained 18 to add to our base, less attrition. We have a capacity for 24. We do train at Camperdown Academy. And our plan is to increase our presence in more upstate schools in a hub concept where there are more than one tutor in one school, so that they can support each other as well as coach each other and not feel isolated in a particular school way far out. So we're working on the hubs concept with new tutors, trying to place them in existing schools where there is more than one. Currently we have 44 tutors, and some of our tutors take on second students. So we have 44 students and 48 students right now. If we don't have, if you can't be a tutor, we certainly have volunteer opportunities in our training classes to sponsor a training class, to link us something similar to that, to make a presentation to an audience, and of course, as all of you do, we accept monetary donations whenever possible. So how do our donations help? Okay, $15 buys a set of reading books, decodable reading books written by Deborah Watkins, who is an Augustine tutor. $20 buys phonics books for the kids. $25 buys the Wilson Training System sound cards. And I'll just go through that. I mean, that's kind of our donation scale of what a donation can buy for us. And the more tutors we have, the more we can help. For instance, Alexander Elementary, we've been in Alexander now for several years, I guess, and they put in a request for 33 tutors this year. We could only supply them 4 additional, and they had 6 to begin with. So we need more tutors. We need to get our word out. We know there are caring volunteers who love children as much as I did, who really want to work one-on-one and make a difference. And so that's a big part of what our program is doing. We have a very modest budget of less than $15,000. Everybody is a volunteer. Nobody takes a salary. We would love that. We would love to grow into that opportunity so that somebody's working and marketing for us full-time, but that's in the future. And these are some of the people that have already are working with us. I've heard our cause and are willing to help, and so we wanted to thank them. And you all have a tutor card on the back of your handout that has all of our information and some of the recap of what I just talked about. And I do have business cards, so if you wanted to contact us, please feel free to do so. And now if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yes?
So whenever you said that you have tutors in the schools,
Yes.
when do the tutors meet with the students? Is it before or after school? Is it? do you
We
have a
meet with the teacher. Well, it depends on who they're identified by, the teacher, and then we get a parent permission slip. We must have that. And then we talk with the teacher. A lot of times it's during their silent reading period because they're not
Okay.
reading anyway.
Okay.
So usually that is what we usually suggest. And if that works within the tutor schedule, that seems to be the best time to take the child out of the classroom. But it varies from teacher to student. And if it doesn't work at all for that teacher, then if the parent is supportive, then they've been meeting after school. Mhm. Yes,
So the students diagnosed or undiagnosed, does it make a difference?
I'm sorry, did I
Diagnosed or undiagnosed students?
diagnose?
Do they have disabilities?
Disabilities.
Well, we can't diagnose them, no. No, I don't think they are. Not to my knowledge. And again, I started to be a tutor and I found the program so rewarding, I have jumped in on the board to grow this program. So I don't know, but I will tell you that the fact that our director works at Camperdown with dyslexic children, she is much more proficient in giving us as tutors, and this comes up at our tutor talk, what signs to look at for a dyslexic child. And we do a lot with B and D. This is what it looks like. This is a bed, this is a B, this is a D. And my little girl last year, if I, as an untrained eye, I would want her tested because she struggles and struggles and struggles, and she's bright and she's smart, and science and math are not a problem, and her teacher, and she's motivated. But we can read and read and read, and I can show her the exact same page the second, almost immediately. It's like she's never seen it before. So that is something I would like to figure out somehow in the community. For me, it's a little bit early, but I think they do need to be tested. But I was talking to Robin that that's something in legislation. It's a bigger issue in our state as well as probably in our schools.
I saw that on your list of locations, was Malden Library up there, if I was correct?
We might have a child that needs a Malden library.
My question is, say I know of a family or a student that would benefit from these services and they don't attend any of those schools.
That's okay. We have a
There's
homeschool
other
child. Mhm.
Places that
Absolutely.
tutors would be willing to travel to?
Yes.
And that's my second question. Is there consideration for branching out into more schools?
Yes.
In Greenville County?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There is. But we find that what we have found in the 10 years is we really like to place more than one tutor. If we isolate a tutor, they feel alone. They feel, you know, and if they're out in Oconee or Spartanburg or something, coming into the monthly tutor talks could be a challenge or a scheduling issue. And so we really want to do the hub concept and get them together as much as possible for supporting each other.